I'm Xiaoting Ho Jones from Donor Economics Action Lab. In this video, we're exploring how to nurture human nature in public policymaking, because understanding what truly drives us is key to making policies that work. The dominant economic model of the 20th century was built on a narrow and a flawed portrait of humanity, the so-called rational economic man. His portrait in economic models and public policies are often painted in words and equations, not in pictures. But if it were to be drawn, he would have to look something like this: standing alone, money in hand, ego in his heart, a calculator in his head, and nature at his feet. He hates work, loves luxury, knows the price of everything, and can never get enough. The tragedy of this self-portrait is who we tell ourselves we are shape how we behave. For example, after studying rational economic men, Israeli economics students rated altruistic values as far less important than when they started. As economist Robert Frank cautions, by encouraging us to expect the worst in others, this narrow view of humanity brings out the worst in us. And if governments design policies around this limited and flawed portrait of humanity and over-rely on market mechanisms that encourages competition and individualism, those policies can actually undermine social cohesion, equity, and planetary health. For example, evidence from a wide range of policy initiatives, from education to healthcare to nature conservation, raises concerns about introducing market mechanisms and cash incentives in social spaces. Their deeper effects are still poorly understood, and the evidence shows that they can backfire, crowding out intrinsic values such as pride in cultural heritage, respect for the living planet, and the trust in the community. Numerous research has shown that human nature is far richer and more nuanced than rational economic man. We're pro-social rather than selfish, interdependent rather than isolated, and guided by fluid values rather than fixed preferences. Most importantly, we're dependent on and embedded in the web of life rather than dominating over it. This understanding opens up extraordinary possibilities for policy design. Instead of assuming the worst about human nature, we can create policies and programs that nurture the best of who we are, bringing out our capacity for cooperation, empathy, creativity, and reciprocity. Consider how governments can help shift mindsets by designing education systems that support collective action and nature stewardship. Government can regulate social media platforms to protect young and the vulnerable people, while promoting digital spaces that prioritize collaborative and empathetic behavior. They can support public-funded independent media outlets that are mandated to act in public interests. Governments can create more opportunities to nurture connections between people and with nature by prioritizing the design of public spaces for nature, arts, culture, and communal activities. They can nurture societal trust through participatory policymaking processes that invite communities to help shape the decisions that affect their lives. They can sponsor community festivals that celebrate culture and communal bonds, and support shorter working weeks that give people more time to nurture social connections and connect with nature. And they can collaborate closely with businesses and civil society actors who share the purpose of nurturing communal bonds, collaboration, and shared responsibilities. For example, with social enterprises and indigenous communities. In many contexts, this approach requires government to recognize and celebrate the value of indigenous wisdom, culture, and practices. In many places, these traditions have long understood the importance of nurturing human nature and the interconnections between people and the rest of the living world. For example, globally, policies that strengthen indigenous peoples and local communities' rights and their stewardship of nature have proven more effective in conserving biodiversity and improving well-being. These approaches tap into deep cultural values and can strengthen social cohesion while delivering better social and ecological outcomes. Nurturing human nature in donor economics invites us to see humans as who we truly are, socially adaptable beings capable of extraordinary cooperation and care. It challenges governments to tap into the best of human nature, and it's indeed what many governments around the world are already doing or experimenting with. You can explore real-world examples and dive deeper into how governments can apply these insights through our web-based policymaker guide.